All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight on our little virtual Zoom. This is a great opportunity to learn more about our camps and, of course, ask any questions that you might have. So first things first, I want to say hi. My name's Amanda Macaluso, and I am the Girls Camp Director, and this will be my 31st year with Hayo-Went-Ha Camps.
And I'm Dave DeLuca. I serve as the executive director at Hayo-Went-Ha Camps. And as you'll learn a little more in a moment or two, this summer I'm also going to be serving as our boys camp director. We've had a change in leadership and a transition, so I'm going to step in, but I'll tell you a little bit more all about that. Amanda, are you able to, as I see notes about other people wanting to join, are you able to let them in?
Yep, I'm letting everyone in as fast as I can. So
fantastic. Well, I'm going to move forward and we're going to get going. We appreciate you guys all finding time to join us tonight. We'll probably take about 20 minutes, maybe 25, to go through our presentation, and then there'll be an opportunity at the end for anyone who has questions. So at this point, if you wouldn't mind muting your screens or your computers, just to make sure that we don't get lots of background noise. But again, we're very glad that you've joined us. So I'm going to get us started. Hayo-Went-Ha camps are single gender camps. We have a boys camp called Hayo-Went-Ha and a girls camp called Arbutus Hayo-Went-Ha. We're both located up in northern Michigan. The camps are about 40 miles away from each other. If you can look on the screen, the green rectangle that's a little higher up that says HWH, that's our boys camp located on Torch Lake. And our girls camp, Arbutus Hayo-Went-Ha, is a little further south, just about 5 miles outside of Traverse City. The camps are located in absolutely gorgeous areas, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the natural environment in a minute or two. We're a nonprofit organization. We're an independent YMCA. There are a number of YMCA camps across the country. We're one of them. And as a nonprofit organization, we have both a mission statement and a vision statement. And this is what we hope will happen to our campers through their experience with us. We want them to be inspired through outdoor adventure. We want our campers to connect with each other and leave camp feeling more confident in their abilities. So our mission and our vision are shared with our staff during staff training, and we make sure that they understand that this is our goal for all of our campers.
So being the YMCA, we do have some core values that we like to share. We share this with our campers from day one. We talk about them a lot throughout the camp session and the camp season. The core values we feel are just best practices on how to treat others and work with others and live in a camp community. So there they are there, all ready for you to observe and maybe remember, because we could have a test at the end. The other thing is we do have a really great camp motto, each for all and all for each. Again, just how we treat each other and working with each other and creating that camp team. We do keep our motto in mind with all of our programming. Another thing we love to share with everybody is our history. Both camps are over 100 years old. We've had a number of generations of families come year after year after year, which is really fun. I think we're up to about our 5th generation for several families. We love that there's that history and that inclusion with the years of the past. You can come to camp and do what we've been doing for nearly 100 years. And some of the traditions that we have been ongoing. Our first year, we have a great recognition and welcoming ceremony at both camps in regards to new campers. We also recognize our 50-year campers and staff as well. Again, just lots of generations and lots of history and lots of traditions that you'll all be a part of this summer too. A little bit about Girls Camp. We are right on Arbutus Lake, which is a beautiful inland lake up here in northern Michigan. The building on the left in the snow is our old lodge, Trailside Lodge. It was built in 1920. It has quite the history. That's the old dining hall, but now used for lots of indoor activities, including arts and crafts, and there's a little stage in there. The nice new building opposite that is our new lodge, 20 years old, but pretty new for us. That's the office that you'll see as you drive in to check in your camper, and then the dining hall is all part of that building as well. And then our camp layout, we have 4 separate divisions. So each age group is a division. 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, for example, are in Happy Hollow. Within that division, there are 5 cabins. Each cabin has 8 campers and 2 staff. We also have a centrally located bathroom for each of our divisions. And then there's a senior staff member that oversees that division and all the programming and all the scheduling and checking in with everybody. So it's like their own little unit. But yeah, camp is about over 100 acres and right on Lake Arbutus. So it's a really neat spot.
And again, our boys camp about 40 miles further north is located on Torch Lake. Torch Lake has been renowned as one of the most beautiful bodies of water in the world, and it is extraordinary. It's crystal clear, and the blue colors that come off of it when the sun is shining is just incredible. Our boys camp, Hayo-Went-Ha, has been in its current location since 1904, almost 600 acres of property. And there are paths and trails and camp roads. There are buildings that date back to as far as 1907, the boathouse that you see in the large photo here. Other older historical buildings, the old dining hall, as we call it, in the upper right of your screen, Bonbright Lodge in the lower right. It's a center of a lot of camp activities. All our trip programs are staged out of the basement of Bonbright. The upper level is a large auditorium style building where we'll do skit nights and indoor activities. So we have a lot of historical facilities and over 35 buildings in all at camp. And then maybe most impressive, almost 2 miles of shoreline on Torch Lake. It's just, again, a great place to spend your summer. And just like Arbutus, our cabins are divided into 4 divisions, separated by the age and the grade of the specific campers. And there are centrally located bathrooms, bathhouses within each division. And just as at Arbutus, in addition to the 2 counselors that live in each cabin, there's a senior staff member, the division leader, who oversees that particular area of camp and works with the counselors and the campers. So the things we've told you about so far, camp facilities and beautiful locations and maybe even a sense of history, a lot of camps have those ingredients, but we think there are a few things that really help to set our camps apart from a lot of the other camps that are out there. And in our next few slides, we'll try to share those things with you, the things that we think makes our camp special. One of them is we're totally unplugged. When you come to camp, we're going to ask that you leave your cell phones and your video games and your Game Boys and anything like that at home. There's no electricity in the cabins. You'll bring a flashlight, but again, it's almost light till 10 o'clock at night in the summer in northern Michigan, so you don't have to worry about navigating too much in the dark. There's certainly electricity in the bathhouses and in the dining halls and all the other central buildings, but we believe that leaving the cell phones behind, you're going to end up with better connections. You're going to make friends with the kids that are in your cabin and the other kids you meet. You're not going to be hiding behind a cell phone or a video game, but you're actually going to be making connections and making friends with the people around you.
So another thing that we are unique about is that we are a little bit longer than our regular 1-week camps. We are 2 or 4 week sessions. We feel that this is just more time together, more time to do all the on-site activities, but also more time to allow us to do our off-site or our trip program as well. And I'll get to some of those fun locations and programs, but that amount of time just lets everybody just really disconnect, really be in the moment and really take it all in for that longer period of time. And time just does go very quickly. So 2 weeks is over very fast. So that first day, I know a lot of questions we've been getting over the last couple of weeks as we get closer and closer to summer is how does that first day kind of help transition our campers from their home to camp? We know that that's important, and we know that can be a little overwhelming. So we want to make sure that there's special attention given that first day. We want to make sure that, of course, we're welcoming your campers. We're also making sure you know where everything is. We'll do a couple of tours. We'll make sure that the staff that are assigned to your cabin welcome you, help you with answering all your questions on that first day. We also know that some of you might be coming and not knowing anyone. We have a challenge out for everybody that first day, that first meal, which is dinner. You need to know everybody in your cabin, their names, and something fun about them. So I always say you'll have 7 new friends by dinner. But we want to make sure all your questions are answered. Families and parents, whoever's dropping you off, you're welcome to stay, meet the counselors, get a little tour yourself, check in with the directors. We ask that you can stay as long as you like, but don't stay too long, because we want to get into the camp fun and the camp activities. So yeah, that first day, as I said, can be a little overwhelming, but we want to make sure that we're available and welcoming and answering everybody's questions and getting everybody settled as soon as we can.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the people that are still joining us.
I know, it's exciting. We're up to
I'm going to assume,
23.
Amanda, that you're going to be able to keep focusing on them.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I've got them all coming in.
so early in the slideshow, when we showed the map of Michigan, I mentioned our natural environment. And I've only been part of Hayo-Went-Ha camp since early January of 2021. I came most recently from Colorado, where I spent almost 6 years in Estes Park up in the Rockies. And I'm amazed at the beauty of northern Michigan, the amount of fresh water and the incredible sunsets and the beautiful lake shores are just amazing. And it gives us wonderful opportunities for great camping programs, both on our sites and in the areas around for our trips, as Amanda will tell you in a minute or two. But the days are incredibly long. It's light by 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and the sun goes down beautifully every evening, right around 10 o'clock at night. So very long days. There's also going to be an emphasis on outdoor activities. We've got great facilities. We could do a lot of things indoors if we need to on rainy days or when the weather isn't great for being outside. But if we can do it outside, that's where we want our campers and our staff to be, enjoying everything that northern Michigan has to offer. There's a focus in our camps on the cabin group, and that cabin group is mostly eight boys or girls and 2 counselors. Sometimes cabin groups might be slightly smaller or slightly larger based upon the specific program they're doing. But basically, it's 8 campers and 2 staff, and that's your camp family. You're going to learn all about the other kids in your cabin through eating meals with them around a round table in the dining hall, doing morning activities as a cabin group and learning about each other's skills and abilities, going to bed at night, and you'll hear about something that we call our evening devotions. But your cabin group becomes your family, and those tend to be the best friends that you'll make at camp. You certainly have an opportunity to get to know kids beyond your cabin, but that's the counselors also spend time putting together activities that are really designed to help the 8 kids in the cabin get to know each other better. And then finally, all the offsite trips are done by cabin groups. So the friendships that you've begun and the bonds that you've developed in camp then get to be furthered during your out of camp trip.
So it's my turn to tell you all about our daily schedule. It's a busy day. We start at 8 a.m. with polar bear. And in case you don't know what that is a quick dip in the lake. Great way to wake up. We also have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the right times of the day. After breakfast, as you can imagine, 8 campers and 2 staff in one cabin might need a little bit of a cleanup on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that's scheduled. Then in the morning, it's that cabin time that Dave was mentioning. So as a cabin group, and here are some of the fun activities that we do as a cabin group. Some of them in regards to our trip program, we do get together and make sure that we have all the information that you need for your trip, but also all the fun that you can do as a cabin group. And then you decide what you want to do as a cabin group. So you kind of plan out your week as a cabin group. Then in the afternoon, after a little rest hour, which is always fun, we also have some of these activities, but more of an instruction plan. So it's an individual choice as well. So as a camper in a cabin group, you can decide to do arts and crafts and meet kids from other cabins. If that's your interest, there's lots of other options that you can choose. And again, we kind of mix up everybody in the afternoon and as an individual choice. The waterfront is open every single day. So if you love the water and love to swim, you're certainly welcome to swim every day. We do have other activities that you can choose instead of swimming. If it's a little cooler or you want to just try something new or try something different. After dinner, it depends on the evening activity. It really depends on the program director and what sort of fun that they've come up with. But it could be an all camp game. It could be a theme night. It could be a campfire or a skit night. It could be an individual choice. But that's lots of fun. Lots of things happen. Lots of traditions. Some of our campfires and our ceremonies happen after dinner as well. Then lights out are about, we head back to our divisions and our cabins around 9:15. The day still has some things to that closure of the day is that devotion that we were mentioning before. So again, a routine that the cabin kind of comes up with and kind of reflects on the day and chats about the next day and any challenges or anything that people want to know in the cabin of the schedule. So again, like a nice closure, and then we're usually in bed by about 10. The daily schedule Monday through Friday is very similar. Is this Saturdays are a different game altogether. We call them Super Saturdays. They're fun. They're themed. They're all camp. There's dressing up and just all sorts of different things. Sometimes, depending on the theme, we've had like Olympic Super Saturday, Harry Potter Super Saturday, Aliens versus Cowboys, I think was a Super Saturday. So whatever the theme is, we kind of dress up and get all excited about it. And again, we do an all camp thing throughout the day. It's always a fun, interesting event, something that we all look forward to to Super Saturdays. And then Sundays tend to be a little bit more of a down day. So we tend to have more of a camp cleanup and a cabin cleanup. So now we've been together for a week in that cabin. So a little bit of a cleanup is probably needed. And then we do a little chapel service as well. And the chapel is really, we reflect back on the core values of the Y. The oldest cabin in camp will present that chapel ceremony and talk about some of their personal challenges as a group or as an individual. And it's just a nice way. We all, our chapels at both camps are right on the lake, and it's just a peaceful morning activity. And then we get ready for the next week. So we'll do some cabin assignments and get planning for the instruction time and making sure that everyone's ready for the coming week in the afternoon, and away we go again. So it's a busy, fun, exciting daily schedule throughout that week, actually every day. The other thing that is exciting is our wilderness trips. That we feel that they're appropriately challenging for the age group. And as you come to camp, you can progress into these longer and more challenging trips as you get older as campers. So some of the activities, some of the programs we do, we go to Sleeping Bear Dunes, we go to Pictured Rocks, we go to our Royal National Park, we go to lots of other state parks rather in Michigan. And then our older girls go and boys go into Canada and do some sailing and some canoeing in Canada as well. But our trips are a little challenging, but you do it as a cabin group. So you all work together and you all accomplish the daily schedule. We want to also make sure you know where you're going, what the expectation is when you are out in the field. We'll show you maps, we'll show you daily schedules and itineraries. We'll talk about how it has been for others. We're really unique with our staff. I feel a lot of our staff come back having been campers themselves. So a lot of our staff have actually done some of these trips as campers, and they've come back and they're becoming the counselors that will then lead them for you all. So yeah, our trips are great. We want to make sure that you're as prepared as possible, not only with the itineraries, but also with the trip equipment. We want to go through all our equipment, make sure that you have everything that you need, and also go through everything that we give you as a group. We also want to make sure that we follow our leave no trace principles as well. We want to leave these state and national parks as beautiful as we find them, if not better. So our trips are really fun. Details are on the website for your specific trip if you want to jump on and take a look. And if you have any questions whatsoever about your trip, please feel free to give us an email or a call, and we'll be happy to share some of those details with you.
So those are the various ingredients that we think help to make a Hayo-Went-Ha camps experience so special. Again, it's going back, it's the unplugged nature of camp. It's these incredibly beautiful natural locations where our camps are located. It's a focus on the cabin group. It's this great in-camp program that allows you to do some activities in small groups, some activities that you pick on your own and learn to become better at, some large group fun activities, a really great mix in camp of all sorts of different opportunities. And then, of course, the really special ingredient is the offsite trips. That's the thing that I think sets us apart, that you're doing these offsite trips by cabin group, you're relying on your campers and your counselors, and it just makes all together a really great camp experience. So it's where friendships are made, memories are made. We just sent out a survey a few weeks ago to our alumni. We wanted to get information from about our past campers and staff members about where they are now. And we asked them a question about what was your favorite memory of camp and what was the impact of camp on you? And some of the answers were just incredible. People in their 50s and 60s saying that the friends they made when they were 10 years old at our camps are still some of their best friends, or that the experience they had when they went to Isle Royale or went to Alaska has stayed with them and really inspired them to backpack and to hike and to canoe. So these are incredible experiences. Our kids gain confidence. The confidence you gain when you hike Isle Royale, maybe that translates into really doing something tough back at home, doing something that you didn't think you could do in school. And we call these 21st century skills. This is the ability to communicate, to collaborate, to be part of a team. These are all skills that are really important for kids to learn and to use in all other parts of their lives. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk for a few minutes about some of the nitty-gritty details about camp. And sometimes these are things that maybe appeal more to mom and dad than our campers, but nonetheless, we'll go through these pretty quickly.
So we love to share where our campers are all from. Of course, the Midwest is pretty popular, but last year we had 36 states represented, and then some international campers as well. It just does create a very unique, diverse community. We meet kids that, we would never have met otherwise in our daily lives because we're all here at camp getting to know each other. So. Another thing we like to share, again, this is more for parents, but American Camping Association is an organization that is a standard, best practices and the standards for the camping industry. You do not have to be ACA accredited, but we feel that we would like to be and want to be and strive to be every year. It's just a sign of the fact that we are following best practices and just making our camp as safe as we possibly can. And I think Dave mentioned this already, but we are a Y. We're actually an independent Y, so we're just not associated with a branch Y at all, and it's just our two awesome camps.
Sometimes parents want to understand how our waterfront works. As you might guess, camps with such exposed and extensive lakefronts, managing the waterfront carefully is really important. There's a full-time waterfront director at each camp that oversees all the aquatic activities. Many of the staff are trained to be lifeguards during our pre-camp staff training. During that training, they'll go through all of our emergency procedures and how the waterfront works. If you look in the upper right corner of this screen, you'll see our buddy board at Hayo-Went-Ha. Both camps use the buddy system. On the opening day, every camper will be asked to jump into the water and do a swim assessment. We need to know how well you swim before we put you out in the lake or in a boat. So we'll watch your swimming ability, and you will be given a buddy tag with a color that corresponds to your swim level and where you're able to go in our waterfront. Additionally, you'll always swim with a buddy. So two of you will swim together in the same part of the waterfront. And roughly every 7 or 8 minutes, our lifeguards will call a buddy check to make sure that everybody is still well accounted for. So there's a number of systems that we use to keep our campers safe. And when anyone is in a boat, whether they're a camper or a staff member, regardless of how well they swim, everyone will wear a life jacket while they're in a boat. Healthcare at camp is pretty important. Each of our camps has a really nicely designed, relatively new health center. That's where all our medical care takes place. Each camp will have 2 health officers, and they're responsible for the overall medical care and health care of our entire camp community. On opening day, we'll ask parents to leave medications, any prescribed medications or even over-the-counter medications with our health officers, and you can have time to talk to the health officers to make sure you can convey any concerns you have or any of your child's healthcare needs. They'll dispense medications per the schedule. They also deal with all the bumps and bruises and aches and pains that come through having lots of kids being active all day. There's an examination room in the health center. There's also a couple of ward rooms where if a camper is not feeling well and needs to maybe come out of his or her cabin just to get some rest and relaxation and to be observed, they can do that in the health center as well. Both our camps are located within about 20 minutes of the nearest hospital. And so we have the ability to get kids off-site quickly should we need to. Anytime a camper spends the night in the infirmary, anytime there's any sort of even minimally serious injury, and anytime a camper is transported off-site, we're going to reach out to the parents right away and let you know what's happening.
So one of our popular questions is, how is the food? We do have some great menu options. We do lots of camper-friendly meals. We also have the emphasis on healthy options as well. So we want to make sure not only are they good to eat, but also healthy for you. Both camps have a salad bar option at both lunch and dinner. So that's also an added health options for everybody. We also want to make sure that we're having everyone's diets as best that we can cater for. We do have a lot of vegetarians. We certainly are gluten aware, nut free as best as we possibly can. And then you definitely let us know if there's any other allergies or challenges you have with your diets. The food service, even though we're in the dining hall just eating, it is still somewhat of a program area. There's definitely singing, announcements, lots of things also still happen programmatically in the dining hall as well.
Well, we're very proud of the staff that we have at both camps. Amanda's already mentioned that many of them started as 9 and 10 and 11-year-old campers, and they've come up through the ranks. They've gone through all of our programs, and they've aspired to come back and be leaders for the next generation of campers. So it's great to know that if you're sending your child to camp for the first time as a 10 or 11-year-old, your child's counselor maybe was a 10 or 11-year-old camper himself or herself years earlier, and knows exactly what it's like to come to camp for the first time. There's a significant amount of training that happens with our staff, but even before that, there's a pretty grueling selection process. We're going to talk to each individual that's interested. We're checking references. There are background checks that are done on every individual. And then a significant training period where many staff are trained to be lifeguards. A significant number are trained in wilderness first aid. Those that are going to be leading our more remote trips get a higher level of medical certification called wilderness first responder. We go through emergency procedures during staff training. Our staff spend time working with others that are going to teach the same activities that they will, such as sailing or canoeing or archery, so that they're on top of their game there. And then our staff are also trained in how to work carefully with kids to understand appropriate behavior modification and how to deal with diversity among our campers, and how to just provide a really positive experience. And if there's ever any need, our staff, most likely either the camp directors or the division leaders, we'll reach out to parents for guidance and advice. If we're seeing behavior or identifying a challenge that we might need some help with, we're going to reach out and partner with you to make sure everything is going to go well.
So we are nearly done, but just couple of last slides, the communication from camp. So while you're all at home wondering about all the fun that we're having at camp, we have a great photo sharing platform. It's called Bunk One, and we'll give you that information in our parent packet. But you can jump on and look nearly daily. We do say we update every other day, but it is quite often daily. That'll give you a little snippet of what's happening at camp, and you can see if your camper is one of the 100 or so photos we post on a regular basis. We also have through Bunk One an incoming email service. So you can actually email your camper. We get it at the other end. We print it out and pop it in their mailbox so they get it like a letter. Bunk One also has a reply feature as well. So you can add that to your email. The camper can then get that second sheet of paper and write a letter to you. And then they drop that back into the office and we scan it once a day and they all go to the correct email addresses. So that's something that you can encourage your camper to do. Also, just mail a regular letter is also fun. Our Tuesdays tend to be our mail meal or Ticket Tuesdays. So that's our way of encouraging them to actually write a snail mail letter to you all at home. We'll also give you, our division leaders will give you an update or a progress report that's specific for your camper and the program that they're in. And again, that's just an overall snippet of all the things that are happening at camp, and there's usually a photo attached as well. But any questions that you have, feel free to give us a call or an email, and we're happy to follow up in any way and as soon as we possibly can.
So at the beginning of the presentation, I introduced myself as the executive director at Hayo-Went-Ha camps, but also that I'm stepping in this summer as the interim camp director. Our camp director, Bill Hinton, who did a wonderful job for us last year and was going through the fall, still planning to be with us, had a wonderful opportunity, a great opportunity to become the CEO at a YMCA camp in Pennsylvania. And while we were really disappointed to see Bill go, it was an opportunity that we certainly didn't feel we could hold him back from. So we're really pleased and excited for Bill. But the timing of his departure meant that if I were to go through the process of trying to recruit and hire a new camp director, it probably wouldn't have been May until that person was going to show up. And that's a very challenging time for a new camp director to come in, to inherit a staff that had already been hired and try to figure out how a new camp or a different camp works. So after giving it some thought, I've decided to step in. I've hired 2 or 3 extra senior administrative staff to help me and be my eyes and ears out at camp. But I've worked in the Y for about 35 years, and almost half that time, I was the camp director at a couple of different all-boys Y camps. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. I've identified, we do a lot of things well at Hayo-Went-Ha, but there still are a couple of things I think we can do a little bit better. And now that I'm going to be in this interim role, I'll be able to bring about those changes and those improvements maybe in a faster way than I could if I was working through a new camp director. So we'll begin the process of recruiting a new camp director over the summer with the plan that that new person will be on early in the fall, assuming I'm still standing at that point. But nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to this. And so if you have any questions at all about how camp will run this summer at our boys camp, by all means, reach out to me by email or by phone. I'd be happy to speak to you about it.
Well, great. I think we're nearly wrapping it up. Here's our little quiz for you all, if you want to throw in the chat or just mention it amongst yourselves. But the first question is, what are the lakes that both our camps are on? And the answers are Torch Lake for our boys camp and Butis Lake for our girls camp.
And we're going to just keep moving right along.
Yeah, we've just got a couple of quick additional questions. So core values, we mentioned them right at the start. Does anyone have or jump on and mention any of the core values? Is anyone eager to do that? Wants to do that? All right, well, we'll just we'll just share the answers with you. So there you go. So we have respect, inclusion, caring, honesty, teamwork, environmental stewardship, and responsibility. And we also have lots of raccoons and deer at camp as well. And then keeping track of our swimmers. Dave mentioned it when he was chatting about our waterfront. 2 more seconds. The buddy board. Awesome.
Finally.
We've got some answers. This is great. And then national parks. So we do go to several national parks in Michigan and lots of state parks. But does anyone remember the 3 national parks? Anyone want to throw out an answer? Maybe, maybe not. This is easier when we're in person. Yeah. All right. So Sleeping Bear Dunes is one. That's awesome. Royal is one. And then Pictured Rocks is our other one. So good job.
We're confident. We're confident that you all got all those answers. We know.
Yeah. It's just hard, isn't it, on a Zoom? So I think that is the end. So if anyone has any questions whatsoever, if you want to throw them in the chat, we're happy to answer them specifically, or feel free. Our contact details are here. We're happy to email any questions, any answers to any questions. Quinn had one. It looks like cabins do not have bathrooms in them. They are centrally located. So each division has a bathroom very close to all of their cabins. Laundry is another great question. We recommend that you pack for 2 weeks. So make sure that you have enough clothes if you are a 2-week camper. If you are a 4-week camper, we do have procedures for laundry. So.
And we do have washer and dryer on the camp property. So should there be an emergency situation and we need to launder a few items for somebody who has not managed their clothing well, we can help with that as well.
Yeah, I think there's a number of occasions where the camper wears the same sweatshirt for 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row, and we tend to zip that off and make sure that's nice and clean for their 5th and 6th day. Bringing so trunks or duffel or a Rubbermaid tub are all good ideas. If you do have a trunk or want to buy a trunk, they are very good because they're so sturdy. You can sit on them without any problem of them breaking, and they fit nicely underneath or at the end of your bunk as well. So definitely a trunk if you have one, but a duffel will also work, and a Rubbermaid tub will also work. We have a great recommendation for trunks. It's called everythingsummercamp.com, and you mentioned that you're at Hayo-Went-Ha camps, and they actually give us a donation towards our campership program with every trunk that's sold. So,
and I'll also add that the Rubbermaid tubs are also very good. They don't break. They're not maybe as sturdy in terms of being able to sit on them, but you can get one that has a built-in shelf that can be lifted out, and you can get them with wheels. So it's whatever you guys are most comfortable with bringing to camp with you.
For sure. The beds are all twin size. So that's a good question. And then backpacking, you bring your own personal gear. Anything that's a group equipment is what we provide. So we've got all the tents, we've got all the fuel and the stoves for the meals. We provide all the meals. It's just what you need individually is what you need to bring.
And each of our packing lists for each of the specific trips that you can find on the website will go through the specific types of trip equipment that you should consider bringing.
Awesome. Some great questions and lots of people. So thank you very much for joining us. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to chat anytime. And summer is not that far away.
I'll mention one other thing. We have a couple of, again, some of you have dialed in from significant distance, so this might not be appropriate for some of you, but in May, and we have these listed on our websites, we're doing a couple of Sundays that we're calling sort of camp preview days or open houses. So On Sunday, May 7th, from 11 to 3, we're going to be at our boys camp, Hayo-Went-Ha. If you want to come up and walk through the camp, for sometimes for first-time campers, seeing what the cabins look like and what the dining hall looks like can be a little bit reassuring. And then 2 weeks later, on the 21st of May, another Sunday from 11 to 3, we're doing the same thing at Arbutus Hayo-Went-Ha. But beyond that, if there's another day that you happen to be coming up into the area, even if you're a later in the summer camper and you're up in northern Michigan during the first part of camp, even after we've started, give us a call. We'd love to walk you through and show you what the camp looks like. Anything that helps make that initial stay at camp more positive and more reassuring, we want to help you with.
Awesome. I actually have a camp tour this weekend at 10 o'clock on Saturday. I'm excited for that. All right. Well,
again, we're very pleased. We're very pleased you joined us. We will say that we still do have some openings in some of our sessions where both camps are ahead of last year's pace in enrollment, but it's always hard to find the last third grader to come during session 2A and the last sixth grader who wants to come during session 1A. So we still have a few openings. So if you know of folks who may have an interest and the time available to come join us at camp, please help us spread the word. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.